Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the Psych coach, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how you can end your relationship. If you've got to the point in the relationship where you think it's got to end, but you're really struggling to end it because you're feeling so guilty about ending it with the person, perhaps you're feeling like they're not going to cope if you end it, listen to these 5 tips that will help ensure you end a relationship that you have already decided has come to an end. So, tip number 1 is remind yourself about why you're ending the relationship. There are presumably a lot of valid reasons why you're going to end the relationship, and presumably this isn't an impulsive decision. This is something you've been considering for a while. Maybe it's been a few weeks, a few months, maybe it's even been a few years. So you have to hold in your mind all the valid reasons about why you're going to end the relationship. It can be easy to get caught up in, oh, but we had a really good day yesterday, or we had a really nice holiday, or, we haven't argued for a few weeks. But if you keep coming back to the same point of, but I need to end this relationship, then you need to listen to that and really remind yourself on a daily basis of why you need to end that relationship. All the things that you've considered. Sometimes writing a list can be helpful. Sometimes having it on your phone so it's easily accessible to remind yourself and to motivate yourself that you do need to end it. Tip number 2 is set yourself a time and a day for doing it. If you've been thinking about ending your relationship for a while, chances are you may have built up to it quite a lot of times and then backed out. But lots of literature suggests that the more specific you are about when you're going to complete a task, the more likely you are to do it. So if you have in your mind, I'm going to end the relationship at the weekend, as soon as we see each other, or I'm going to do it first thing in the morning, or I'm going to do it at the end of our trip to visit family, whatever it may be, set a date, set a time, and stick to it. Tip number 3, tell someone about your plan. If you tell someone about your plan, they can hold you accountable, and having that little bit of extra pressure of knowing that there's maybe a sibling, a parent, a friend, a therapist who's going to have in their mind that you're going to be ending your relationship on a particular day at a particular time may help just give you a little bit more of a boost to ensure you end it. It's far too easy to get out of things if you haven't told anyone what you're going to do, but having that degree of accountability and having to own up to someone about whether you have or haven't done the task you said you would can be a motivating factor. So think carefully about who you would tell you're going to end it to, and then tell them. If you've already told people you're going to end it and you feel a bit too embarrassed to be telling them again, try and remember that there's no need to feel embarrassed. It's a really difficult task to end a relationship. So many people stay in relationships because they simply don't know how to end one. So try and tolerate that embarrassment and still trust that telling someone is going to serve you far better than not telling anyone, and they can help hold you accountable to make sure you do what you feel you need to do. Tip number 4 is have as clean a break as possible. That means agreeing to no contact for a period of time once you've ended the relationship. That means not saying to the person, but sure, we can still be friends and we can still go out and do the holiday we'd planned and we can still see our friends on the weekend as we'd planned. Have a clean break. If you do eventually want a friendship to come from it, that's fine, but you need to have a clear break in the initial stages. So try not to lead the person on by saying, but yes, we can just carry on as friends and we were friends anyway, so it's not like we'd even notice any difference. There is going to be a difference. You're not going to be romantically involved with each other. You're not going to be romantically accountable to one another. You're both free to do what you want to do. And having a clean break makes the distinction between the relationship and a friendship, if you want one, or the relationship and the ending of it with there being nothing else afterwards. Hold on to the clean breaks. It's fairest for both of you. And tip number 5 is recognise that people can cope with heartbreak. A lot of the time people think, I don't want to end a relationship because I just can't bear the idea of putting my partner through the heartbreak. I wish they'd end it with me. I wish they'd meet someone else. I've wished for so long that they would just decide that they're done with the relationship. And that's of course because you don't want to feel the guilt of ending a relationship and making someone feel sad, but really try and hold on to the fact that people get over heartbreak. People feel sad, people may feel really terrible for a period of time, but they do eventually get over it, and you have to hold that in your mind, whilst also remembering that you're not a bad person for meeting your needs. It's a travesty to stay in a relationship that you shouldn't be in simply to stop someone else from feeling sad, because the chances are it's making you feel sad. So remember, you're not doing anything wrong by ending a relationship and meeting your needs, and remind yourself that in the long run, people do cope with heartbreak and they recover from it. Overall, you need to remember that even though it's going to be really uncomfortable in the short term for at least one person, perhaps both of you, it's in your longer term interest to be ending a relationship if you've got to the point where you've decided you need to end it. So remember, short term discomfort, longer term gain. So to recap, remind yourself of all the reasons why you need to end it. Set yourself in a time and a day for ending it. Tell someone that you're going to be ending it to create some kind of accountability. Have as clean a break as possible, and recognise that people can cope with heartbreak. The worst thing you can do is to stay in a relationship that isn't good for you, that isn't satisfying, and one you know you need to leave. So take decisive action, put into action all the things I've spoken about, and end a relationship you've been thinking about as soon as possible. If you've enjoyed today's tips, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I will give you plenty of tips on how to use psychology to help your day-to-day functioning.